Hello, let's make the easiest to crochet crop sweater. This crop sweater brings the drama with puff sleeves that hug your arms just right, starting off with flirty ribbon stripe. Up top, it's got a bold ribbon detail sitting just above your bust. No straps, no rules, just pure style. Before we get into the lovely result, let's start with the very beginning. This tutorial is more than welcome for beginners, as all small details and everything you need to know to make this lovely sweater will be covered here. Without overwhelming you with saying it's whole sweater how to do this, let's divide it for multiple parts, and our first part would be cuff for our sweater, especially for sleeves. This cuff should hold our sleeves because we want kind of puff sleeves. So let's just dive into. First point to consider is yarn and what kind of yarn. If you're making this sweater, and I assume because it's crop sweater, we're gonna making it for summer, that's why I would recommend you to use cotton. I shown here which cotton I'm using, 100%, but if you prefer to do this for winter season or maybe autumn, please choose more warmer kind of yarn. Just to make everything as easy as possible, we're gonna grab a yarn if you like it, the color, all perfect. So we already chose which yarn we're gonna use. And then if it's teeny, the thread is teeny tiny, we can use multiple threads. We could buy, let's say, 3 or 5 bunch of yarn and just use all of these 5 threads in a go. What I'm doing, I just put maybe 4 bunches of this yarn. It's enough for me, and I'm gonna use 2 threads of this yarn because it's gonna make my crocheting a little bit easier, because as bigger yarn is, as bigger like my stitch is gonna be, and as quicker I'm gonna finish this project. So small tips. So we grab our yarn, we grab our hook, just hold it in a proper position, then we twist hook with the yarn over as I'm showing on this video, then taking one yarn through the loop already on our hook, and then it's our knot and we're ready to go. And then we just continue grabbing yarn through our loop, yarn through our loop. I'm trying to make it as slow as possible here just to show everything what you need. Congratulations, it's your chain. You just make a knot in the beginning, your first loop, then taking your loops through another loops, and that is your chain is done. Just to mention here, the amount of loops you're gonna go for chain, it's actually the length, especially high of your cuff. You're going to do approximately, let's say, because then it's gonna squeeze. So let's imagine you want to 15 centimeters, just make your chain for maybe 17 centimeters, something like this. After you're happy with the length of your chain, we're gonna do our next row, which is actually back loop, single crochet, blah blah blah. So just skip this information, we no longer need it, everything is shown here. We're just grabbing one part of our loop, that's why it's called back loop only. And then we're taking our yarn through this loop. Right now we have 2 yarns on our hook, and then we're taking yarn through both of these from our hook, and then we continue. So that's why it's called single crochet. So we have 2 yarn on our hook and grabbing yarn through these both loops. That's why it's single crochet. In this way we continue till the end of our chain, where we actually start our chain. So just taking one part of our loop, taking yarn through it, we have 2 loops on our hook, and then taking yarn through both of them, so it's our single crochet. For the next row we need actually to turn our crochet, that's why we're doing just 1 loop, so taking yarn through the loop we already have. So then we continue in the same way, we're just grabbing one part of our loop, just back one, and taking yarn through it, then taking yarn through both loops from our hook. This is the way we are doing our next row. In this way we continue doing as much rows as you need to cover all your wrist around your arm. So it's cuff for sweater, for our sleeves. The idea is following: we're just grabbing or making 1 loop to actually turn our crochet, and then we're gonna go for back single crochet loop only, just grabbing back part of our loop and taking yarn through it, then having 2 loops on our hook, and then taking yarn through it. This is the way we continue doing our stitches, our rows, until it's enough for our cuff. After you receive something like this, which is actually covered like the size of your wrist, because it's slightly ribbon, it could be also stretchy in a way. So also considering this when stitching it together or joining both parts, actually beginning and where you're right now. So just consider this, that it could be stretchy, but should not be so tight and harm your arm. To join your cuff, actually the part you right now have, we need the beginning row where you start making all of this slice of fabric, and where you right now we're just holding them together, and we're gonna make a slip stitch, row of slip stitch. What slip stitch even mean? So we're starting with our loop, just getting one loop on our hook, additional one, and then we're taking back loop from our current row and back loop from our let's say first row, which we join to, and taking yarn through both of these loops. Right now we have almost have 2 loops on our hook, but instead of holding these 2 loops on our hook, we taking it this loop through as well as we did previously. So we're not gonna go for 2 loops on our hook, we're just grabbing it straight away through all 3 of them. Just to repeat, we're taking our back loop from our current row, back loop from our first row. Right now we have literally 3 loops on our hook, and through all of these 3 we're just taking yarn through and we're receiving our loop on a hook, and then continue doing it the same way, grabbing back loop from current row, from another row, and taking yarn through all 3 of them. Congratulations, our cuff is done. Actually we need 2 of them, so just repeat the process for the second one, and I see you in the next part of the video. Subscribe and put on notification to don't miss the second part. Being here, love from Anhelinasv.